I consider myself to be a teacher, not because of some educational attainment, but because I think teaching is the greatest profession on earth. It is the greatest career. It's the best profession as far as human development is concerned. For every wonderful achievement, every great knowledge that is imparted, it first has to come from a teacher. And so today I'm using this mirror as a hook to introduce today's lesson. I want you women to go in front of your mirror. It's a handheld mirror or a full-length mirror or some mirror of some sort. If it's even through water, you take a look at yourself. Take a look at your reflection, because you will have to do this. You will have to come face to face with yourself when no one is watching and confront the truth about the situation that you're experiencing in terms of violence in your life. Examine your life, because you're going to have to do this in order to make the decision you're about to make. Greetings, African people. This one is for all women, women of all race. If you are a woman, put up your hand. This is for you. If you feel like a woman and don't even have the parts that matches with that of a woman, I still say put up your hand. Put your hand down, Caitlin. Just kidding, Caitlin. You can put your hand up, because the topic I'm talking about today, if it happens to you, you deserve love and protection. This one is for all women in the earth. Did you know that your marriage certificate can become your death warrant? It can become your death certificate. And it's very important for you to listen to me today, women, because sometimes we're not able to see the signs of the person that will eventually destroy us or take our life. But some of us see it and we ignore it. It's very important for you not to ignore the signs in the beginning stages of your relationship. Stay tuned. I have a few videos for you. Watch, and I will come back with my commentary. I am warning you, these images are going to be very graphic. So let's get started. This is our first lesson. And I have to stop it there. This gentleman, and I'm using that word loosely, is in a bus in Jamaica with his wife and his baby girl. And he gets up and he starts attacking this woman with her baby in hand. And the people in the bus are, they're speaking to him about this horrible behavior. What you will see at the end, I'm going to fast forward this. At the end, they get to the police station because the driver chose to do the right thing and drove the bus to a police station where this man will get what he deserves. So here we have this woman having to suffer this humiliation and this emotional and physical pain on the road in a bus full with people. Can you just imagine what she goes through in privacy? If this takes place on a bus, imagine the pain and suffering this woman have been going through for so long. Let's pause this here and take a second look at another situation.
You know what? Yo, show your face before me get mad in this you. Show what I say, officer.
Oh, boy.
Now you. Now you. Look straight like a bumbuckle at camera, because you may deal with it now you. So say you make some boy fuck up your life.
So we make him want to push this.
Because I show me like a bumbuckle and show you something you. You feel like evil. Eh? You feel like bumbuckle at evil. You feel like can diss me out. You feel like can diss me there.
No, please.
Eh?
Please not.
You feel like can diss me out.
Never me love you, Dante. See, they have you on video.
I want on video. You think this bomber clad satisfy me, but I have on video. I think they satisfy me out. Dad. You know what? Yo, show your face before me get mad in this you. Show what I say, officer.
Oh, boy.
Now you.
This is the classic sign of an abuser. Let's talk face to face. Every day, women around the world suffer this kind of humiliation, this kind of pain, this kind of suffering. And, you know, sometimes when you're on the outside looking in, you tend to be very judgmental and you say, why do you stay? You're so stupid. But you have to understand the psychology of an abusive partner. And it goes from male and female. Today we're looking at domestic violence as it relates to women. But, you know, men go through this too. And there's a double standard in society that when it happens to a man, it's funny. When it happens to women, it's detrimental. You know, it's something that we talk about and for the most part, you know, really fight against. I am talking to you this morning, you lady, you woman, you young girl who is going through domestic violence at the hand of someone you love or someone who claimed to love you. The first thing I've got to tell you is love does not hurt. It doesn't hurt. And if any marks are left on your body, it should be love marks, not because some man battered you. I have spoken on domestic violence in the past, and I came to you from the perspective of a victim. And today I'm coming to you from the perspective of someone who said enough and walked away. I was a very young girl, came to Canada because I married a man that I knew in my country, someone that I preserved myself for and thought that this person was going to be my lifelong partner. But it didn't turn out to be that way. It was quite tragic. For one, I didn't have any family in this country. And this person was my best friend for 5 years prior to that. Prior to me marrying this man, we were just very good friends. There was no sexual relationship between us because at that time, I made it within my mind that I am going to give myself to the first man that I married. And so I married this person. And I don't want to get into any details about that man because I feel that it's very difficult to get into details without being disrespectful. And I don't want to go that route. I am appealing to women who are experiencing abuse at the hand of their partner today and not so much about my own life. But I am here to say this is testament to the fact that you don't have to stay and you don't have to put up with this abuse. At that time, I was a young girl and he also was a young man. And it's something that I'm seeing more prevalent because nowadays you're seeing more young boys between the age of 15 and 21 years old who's participating in this kind of horrible act, victimizing women, abusing women, and in some cases kill women. So I don't want to hear these black guys come on here and start getting defensive. Look into yourself and examine why you're doing these things and get help because you need help. A man who's abusive needs psychological and all kinds of help. And you might be a victim yourself because you experience abuse at the hand of your father or your mother. But that doesn't give you justification to beat another woman or another person, to abuse someone in this kind of way. In Jamaica, again, I always say people are left to sort out all kinds of social issues, but there are times when government must step up and do something about it. Enforce those laws, make individuals know that domestic violence is a crime. It is a serious crime, and not just have it on the books, but enforce it. I'm sure that people are getting in trouble for this kind of thing, but when I see school kids, do your research and see the boys in Jamaica, 14, 15-year-old boys plummeting little girls, beating them, kicking them down, and individuals who are posting these things on Facebook must be charged as well. If you capture these images more than a minute, if you want to capture a minute of it to bring it to the police to show what happened, go ahead. But if you're catching 5, 10, 15 minutes of this video, you should be held by law. You should be accountable, because you are aiding and abetting violence towards another person. Young girl, if this guy is beating on you and drawing blood from your body, this person does not love you. And I think some of you are aware of it, and some of you are not in love with these men, but you're afraid. And herein lies the problem. Fear, again, causes people to be abused, or cause people to stay in abusive relationships. And I do understand it. Sometimes you're dependent on that man to provide you with shelter and food and whatever. But my philosophy is, if you're going to kill me while I'm on the run. I'm not going to be in your bed. I'm not going to be giving myself, my heart, my body, and my soul to somebody who is abusing me. For women who are in the game of looking for a partner, when these things happen in the beginning of your relationship, you ignore the signs. You pretend that they're not there. You brush them under the rug. You talk them out. You explain them away. An abusive man is very romantic. An abusive man, for the most part, has a honeymoon phase. And in that stage, he loves you and treats you so well that when you're getting through the abusive stage, all you can think about or remember is the time when you had that honeymoon phase. But that phase doesn't last very long. It doesn't last. The abuse is a lot more than that stage where you get to feel loved and nurtured and valued. And so this domestic violence that we're seeing happening in Jamaica at a proportionate, I don't know, it's so much now that I don't know what I see. So sometimes I think it is the spirit of our ancestors that's rising up in the country and crying out when we see these things. Women are killed every day across the earth from men, abusive men. And our young kids are not taught, our young girls are not taught to understand that when someone hits you, it has nothing to do with love. Please surrender yourself to the fact that the idea that you are loved and that you deserve love, and not allow fear to cause you to stay into these situations where you're being hurt, where you're suffering. I'm trying to stay calm, because this, for me, when I see it, brings back memories for me as a young girl being in love with a man who claims that he loved me and was doing these things to me. I eventually got the courage and I left. And we have to stop being so materialistic, because we're thinking we can't survive, we can't cope, where am I going to live? I'd rather be on the road. I'd rather be homeless on the road than being at home with someone who's supposed to be my friend, my lover, my companion, my partner, and experience this thing. If the man in my household is my enemy, what do I have to fear when I get out in the street? I left, and so can you. And I don't encourage individuals to end their relationships, but I'm coming out today and I'm going to say to you, woman, if a man is beating you, if he is physically or verbally abusing you, that is not worth keeping. And if you have children and you surround them with this thing, what you are doing is breeding more domestic violence in the world, in the future, in the years to come. Because oftentimes when these boys witness these things, Sometimes that rage and that anger and that hurt is turned inside. And when they enter the world, the very thing that they said they would never do is what they do, because that's what they learned. That's lessons that they picked up on and internalized when they were young. So by staying in this relationship because of the children, you're actually doing more harm to them than good. For the man that you're staying with that is beating you, that is driving fear in you, because this is what these cowards do. Oftentimes, if these men face other men, they cannot defend themselves. They couldn't defend if their life depended upon it. They are like wusses. They only have strength for women. They are such cowards that they are not able to confront other men. If a little boy was to hold him in the neck, they fall on the ground like a little coward that they are. Young girls, sometimes your moms warn you and you're not listening. And when you find yourself in an abusive situation, you're too ashamed to go back home and admit to your mom that you were wrong. It's okay if you made a mistake and you disobeyed your parents and you left to your home to go live with a man and it turns out that he's not good for you. Swallow your pride and go back home. And if you live in a first world country where there are opportunities for you to go for help, where there are battered women's shelter, where you can go, take your children. But be smart about it. Don't start spouting out the mouth and start telling the man, I'm going to leave you. You're no good and I'm going to go away from you. You don't have to do that. If your life is in danger, you have to be smart. Pack your bags when you can, when he's not at home, and make your escape. And sometimes you might have to go without anything. If you have children, you make your plans and you leave when he's not at home. You go to the store, pretending to go to the store and you leave. I'm willing to put myself out there, and I know I'm going to be attacked for this, but I am saying that if it means saving one woman's life by speaking out against violence against women, and violence come in all forms. It's not just verbal or just someone punching you because your girlfriend. Rape. You say no to a man and he forces himself on you. That is violence. And so you're thinking, this is my boyfriend and he asked for sex and I wasn't ready. But because he's my boyfriend, I said yes, I gave in. It's rape and it's violence. Anybody who doesn't understand that what they're doing to you is hurting you or causing you harm can't possibly be a good partner for you. My friend, once again, you know who I am. And we know each other based on our conversation that we've been having recently. And my advice to you is your situation is deadly. Get out. And if you're in a situation where you can move, you need to move away. Because when someone is going to threaten you that they'll harm you and mention burning you with oil and things like that, he's not joking. He's fearful. And you represent that means of escape for him. It's through you that he thinks he's going to gain this new freedom. And so if you don't go now, and if you threaten him that you're going to leave, he might very well know it will be very difficult for him to form a relationship with somebody in the time when he needs to get things done. Leave, make your plans, and if you can't leave, you're in a situation where you can't leave, you've got to report what's happening to you because you don't want to become another statistics. Abusive men will always drive fear in you. It's a way of controlling you so that they can have their way with you. And sometimes in the beginning of the relationship, you think it's so romantic when he always just wants to be with you and he always, tries to separate you from your friends and your family. That is just an abusive man way of getting you to themselves so they can control you, dominate you, and have the best of you. Don't worry that you won't find someone else like he tells you. That's a lie. Because even if you have 20 children, love has nothing to do with that kind of limitation. People will love you regardless of your circumstances. Just get out of that abusive situation. Find peace within yourself and value yourself enough to say no more. And if the person is going to kill you because you leave, he's going to kill you because you stayed. Be blessed, everybody. Think on these things.